Namaste and Jai Somnarn. We would like to welcome you all to the 2017 BAPS Women's Conference. We want to thank each and every one of you here for joining us as this marks the 11th anniversary of the BAPS Women's Conference.
दिवड़ो धरो तनना मनना तिमिर हरो दिवड़ो धरो रे प्रभु दिवड़ो धरो.
Another important point about introspection is the perspective with which we carry out our day-to-day activities. Think for a second, do we do things really because we have to do them, or do we do things because we enjoy doing them? To me, if we do any task, whether it's at home or here at Mandir or anywhere else, if we consider it as to be in service to God, we would not feel pressure, and we would do with completely different spirit.
In my experiences as a therapist, I've realized that hard work doesn't come overnight. Success requires work over time that requires a combination of sacrifice, conviction, and perseverance. And you see, hard work is just that. It's hard. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically grueling. And yet, that is what is required, right, for success. Failure. Let me tell you about failure, because I've failed. And in failing, I've grown. See, society teaches us that failure is wrong and that in order to be successful, you should never fail. And yet, I strongly believe that in failure is where we learn our biggest opportunities for growth.
But my journey here has been long and winding. It's been filled with detours and roadblocks, and yes, it's been filled with sacrifice. But over the last few years, I've learned a few things about sacrifice that I want to share with you all today. First, sacrifice requires purpose. But just having that purpose is not enough, which brings me to my second point, which is that sacrifice requires faith, and the path that you are on is worth pursuing. Third and most important lesson about sacrifice, that sacrifice is a way of life. And what I mean by this is that one has to make a resolution of sacrifice in our daily lives. We have to choose to give up something, no matter how small, in order to gain something better.
Such an important seminar on women's empowerment. We are celebrating Women's Day. We are celebrating Women's Month. The whole month is dedicated to women's health, education, and various other issues.
Today, we learned of 3 resolutions that promise not to bind, but to liberate us. The resolution of responsibility, the resolution of hard work, and the resolution of sacrifice.
As we introspect upon these 3 resolutions, we should think to ourselves, what is my resolution? What are my priorities? Where are the gaps? Resolutions liberate us in such a way that they allow us to achieve our goals, and they bring a positive effect into our lives, and they change us for the better.
All the speakers or the volunteers, everybody has done fantastic job in this today's conference. Just by being here, by listening to them, and not just by their words, but the kind of work they do, it is so inspiring.
I came from a background where it was a culture of women following in the footsteps of men. Over the last several decades, I've really seen women come into their own and become empowered, and that empowerment comes from events like this, from the events that we do inside of Mandir. It's really inspiring to see women now taking on roles like pilots and mental health professionals and lawyers and doctors, and just to see women really truly come into their own and develop their own identity, which is filled with strength and resilience. So events like this really showcase that.